Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today, I'm going to look at Flash Gordon, and it doesn't have a number on it. This is from King Features. I don't know where this comic came from. Somebody gave this to me. Maybe it was Arthur Tripp, but I put it in my stack of to read comics, and I finally got to it. I think it's been sitting here for months. But anyway, let's check this out. It's a sham. I just drives me crazy. And if you can see this, it says part of the bilingual center. So there you go. And here we got some ads and cool stuff. Not ads, but like a little art. And let's check out the indicia. So it says Flash Gordon. I think it says reprint 16 because I looked it up in the database. And this says 1977 King Features, but the only copy I found is 1967. So I think this is a reprint. But anyway, Flash Gordon meets the Cragmen of the Lost Continent. And I was just like begrudging, like, all right, I kind of skipped over this a few times, but I was like, let me just read it. It's just one issue. It's the only Flash, well, not the only Flash Gordon, but the only King Features comic I have. So I was like, let me just read it. And it was excellent. It's so good that I'm doing a video on it. So let's look at the credits over here. They're not in the comic, but the Flash Gordon was written by Bill Pearson, and the art is by Reed Crandall. So you know you're in for a treat with Reed Crandall. So this is classic Flash Gordon, Dr. Zarkov, and Dale Arden. I don't know why they're in this situation because I don't have the issue before it, but it does what comic books should do. It brings you up to speed. So Flash Gordon, they crashed on Mongo, and they're fleeing Ming the Merciless and just trying to get back to Earth. And you see, look at this. Bilingual Resource Center, Wing Public School Division, New York. Like I said, I don't know how it came into my collection. And they just looking down at this valley. So now they're climbing down. Excellent storytelling. Excellent story. And I got to say, Reed Crandall must like thick legs on women. It's one thing I've always learned, that artists always draw the women that they find attractive. And and Reed Crandall just must like thighs on chicks. That's all I got to say. But look at Flash over here. He just looks like a powerhouse. I mean, he's not a superhero, but man, he might as well be one. Just the way they draw this. So look, they put little, I'm beat, Flash, and then down here, beat means tired. So I don't, I just think it's funny that all throughout this issue that like obvious words are defined. But this right here, when I got to this page, is when I said I want to do a video on this. So that, they're down in the rapids of the tiny raft, to 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost. There you go. There's an old nod. Just look at this artwork. I just find this, I've always liked Reed Crandall, but sometimes I just forget how good he is. But look at the water rushing in, the body language. Flash just looks powerful. Even Dr. Zarkov looks pretty powerful. They hit these rocks. Excellent storytelling. Now let's just, when I say storytelling, I just mean the ability to get the story by not even reading, just by looking at the artwork. It's just perfect. You can see exactly what's going on. You don't need the words, although, the words fill in. So they're stuck, and Flash is going to swim ahead because there's two paths you can go by. And by the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And this crazy looking fish monster just pops up. Flash is shooting it. And this is the only part that just makes no sense to me. He's standing right here, and then it looks like he jumps in the mouth. But what really happened was the creature tossed him into his mouth. And, oh no, and it comes after them. And they just pick one of the two paths, and it just happens to be a waterfall. I just love this drawing. It's so good. And again, we see the storytelling. Look at the storytelling over here. Like they're resting, and in the morning he's just like, I can't go nowhere. I broke my leg. And they don't say it, but you can see she's got this, her pants are all ripped up and over here hanging down, and then they're used as a cast. And now she is just got to get food. Dr. Zarkov's leg is broken. Flash is dead. And what does she find? Flash's holster and an arrow. She's like, Flash is alive. They make a bow and arrow. And now Dale is going up. Now, I like the transition. At the beginning, Dale was complaining. She was, I'm tired. I can't do anything. And now she's stepping up. And this was what, 1967 was the original thing. The women, she's not a damsel in distress in this particular issue. So now she's not shooting the arrows at this. She's hiding. Why? Because I love these creatures, and you'll see them better in the next page. But these like cavemen are fighting this sort of mammothy thing, and they're doing a dance, they're skidding it, and she's just watching them, and she's like, if I follow them, odds are, because the arrow is pointing right towards them, she goes, I bet you they have flesh. Now look at these guys. Look at these guys. They got antlers. I don't know why I find that so cool. Look at that. And now she's just checking them out and following them. Now look at that. Again, this is going to be one of those videos where I'm like, look at that. Look at that. I don't know who did the coloring. The coloring is so subtle, and it makes everything 3D. You see the different gradations. There's pink, there's gray, there's brown, and then the sky, for whatever reason, is my eyes crazy? But that, okay, it looks blue, but I guess but it's a light shade of blue. Here's a little darker shade of blue. You know, got to differentiate each panel. Just so good. You know, again, we're not going to see comic books like this in the mainstream anymore. You know, guys with this much talent, and I'm saying this is draftsmanship. You know, this is just the scales are kept a lot. You know what I mean? It's like all the details that are necessary to tell a story, but aren't flashy. Like, you know, people are drawing laser beams and explosions and cool fights, but here we just got a woman climbing a ladder. And then she's stepping down the ladder, and, you know, just the proportions, everything is so good. She's got that slight haunch ready. You can tell that she's putting a little bit of tension on the arrow. Just, she's drawing back as she's getting nervous. Just excellent. And what does she find? Flash Gordon. And again, just look how powerful he looks. And I love Flash telling, quiet woman. He just starts snapping at her, and she cuts the rope, and he's like, I'm sorry. But what they tell you is these aren't rocks. These are like wood plant growths, and they were thin, and as they grow thicker and thicker and thicker, it's like pulling at him and tearing him apart, you know. And now this guy comes up and goes, oh, this is my friend Grunk. Hey, Grunk, take these ropes, and he just stabs him in the chest, murders the guy, and kicks him off the mountain. And now these guys are coming up the mountain. I love this. He just pushes that rock on top of him. Again, it's like a plant rock. It's just weird. But then again, they are on another planet. You forget. And now they're climbing up. They're climbing up. Again, just look at this. You know, it's like a ziggurat, this mountain. And they make it to this crazy looking bird. And then the bird just like, stay away from my eggs. And I love this. He goes, hideous. Hideous equals ugly. So they have to translate these words. I don't know why I'm getting a kick out of that. So what does he do? He stabs the bird in the neck, leaves it in there, gets on the bird, and he starts steering the bird by the puncture in the neck, by the knife in the neck. He's just steering and the bird's losing blood, so it's just getting lower and lower and lower, and then they jump. And are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. You know, and then they find their way back to Zarkov, who you know, has a broken leg. And how much you want to make a bet that next issue he doesn't have a broken leg anymore? Then they got this silly little contest thing, and can you know, a little game. And what do they have here is Mandrake the Magician. I was like, I don't want to read this, but it was actually pretty good. So it's modern day, you know, it's 1967, I think, was the original story of this, and this yacht's being raided by pirates. Oh, I skipped over quick. Something about this drawing, I love that face. And then here comes Mandrake with his cape, and he's doing magic. Now, I don't know much about Mandrake, so I didn't know if he was like a stage musician goofing, but he has real mental power. So he's using like telepathy to project thoughts from one of the guys that he placed a post-hypnotic suggestion on. So now he finds out where they're going. They got this unflattering black, you know, porter that's hanging out with them, and you know, he's using spells. He just surrenders. He just surrenders. Why? Because they take him to the master, and then the master is just like, "That's Mandrake, you fools! He's got magic powers." And Mandrake just starts, you know, he allows himself to get beat up, but the black servant, he just goes nuts and starts beating the crap out of everybody. Mandrake's got a gun to his head. Is he still faking? That's just it. And he's using his mental powers to make everybody think they're being attacked by Moby Dick. He's like, oh no, and he steers into the cave and gets trapped, and you know, the Coast Guard gets him, and he's just like, And here's the answers to all the puzzles. And exciting stories featuring an all-star cast. Monster Bird, Lothar, Dale, Mandrake. I gotta say, I would get to it, and then I would just like pull other comics on top of it. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Let me just read it. And I loved it. It was a lot of fun, to the point where if I could find cheap copies of these, I'd pick up the rest of them. I really enjoyed it, especially if Reed Crandall's doing this artwork. Just so good, right? I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.